Hello, everyone, and welcome to the part number 2 of our Origins of Humanity. I really enjoyed doing the part number 1, so now we're back for the part number 2. And the part number 2 will take a different route because now we'll focus more on the Great Deluge or the Great Flood, and also what I categorize as the Great Divider. It is a divider in multiple accounts. The first account is the spiritual divide between before the flood and after the flood. We can use some reference in order to account a certain divide, as well the civilization amnesia. With basically the Great Flood, there was naturally a great loss of knowledge, and this is this leads to this loss of knowledge will lead also to a technological divide, where you can see on part number 1 we could see the ancient structures predating the flood, and which was differently using different kind of technology that was lost to us. With this catastrophic event. Now, I will come as well on on the section 3. I will come as well with a certain theory regarding Great Pyramid, but my own theory of it. Now, as we transition from part number 1 to part number 2 of our exploration into the origins of humanity, we shift our focus from the enigmatic structures that we saw on part number 1 that challenge our understanding of ancient capabilities to a potentially cataclysmic event that may have reshaped human civilization, the Great Flood. In part number 1, we examined the architectural marvels of the Great Pyramid, the precision stonework of Fumapunku, the colossal blocks of Baalbek, and the engineering feats of Sacsayhuaman. These structures hinted at the level of technological sophistication that seems at odds with conventional historical narratives. Really strange in my view. Now, in part number 2, we delve into the concept of the Great Deluge or the Great Flood as a pivotal moment in human history, a potential dividing line between an advanced ancient world and our current civilization. This exploration will unfold into 3 sections. As I said, the spiritual divide. We'll use Enoch as an example to highlight this divide. Second of all, will be the civilization amnesia. The Great Flood is nowadays associated with a phenomenon called the Younger Dryas, leading to naturally a great loss of knowledge, which will naturally have an impact on the technological divide when we see the ancient structures of the past and today. Guys, let's tackle now the section number 1, Enoch and the Flood myth, and the spiritual divide. So once again, welcome back to our exploration of humanity mysterious origins. In part number 1, we examine ancient structures that seem to defy conventional explanation. Now we turn our attention to an event that may have reshaped human civilization, the Great Deluge, or what we call also the Great Flood. What I've said in part number 1, I really believe that there was a time before the flood where ancient civilizations were clearly more advanced and capable of doing things that we can't really understand today. Nonetheless, it's been lost. So now, across cultures and religions, stories of a catastrophic flood permeate our collective mythology. What if these aren't just myth? What if they are echoes of a real world changing event? Let's begin with one of the most intriguing flood accounts, the story of Enoch. The Book of Enoch is a book that you can find everywhere in Amazon. I have 2 versions with myself, and the Book of Enoch is very interesting because it's not part of the canon. It's falling in the category of books called apocryphal literature. Apocrypha came from the Greek word apokryphos, meaning hidden or secret. It is typically a category defining everything outside of what is canonical. The canon is the accepted scriptures, such as, in the Bible, you have the Ancient and New Testament. As such, the Book of Enoch was never banned, but part of the Jewish literature, considered as less important than the traditional Jewish canon, such as the Torah, the Talmud, the Kabbalah, and even the Zohar. However, it is part of the Second Temple period, as being part of the Dead Sea Scrolls. On the Christianity side, apocryphal texts are generally texts being issued post the New Testament, basically after Jesus. However, the story of Enoch is outside of the canon because it is time situated before Jesus, but it was written between the Old and the New Testament. There are, the estimation is about 400 years separated the last book of the Old Testament, Malachi, in the Protestant Bible, to the first book of the New Testament, Matthew. These 400 years gap is referred as the 400 years of silence, where in the Jewish tradition, it is believed that the voice of God wasn't communicated to prophets in the same way. For more details, I'm sure you can find an individual named Wesley F., someone that I listen when I want to have much more details about the scriptures. He's a scholar, so naturally, if you want to have more details, you can find him on YouTube. In Islamic tradition, Enoch is known as Idris. The Quran mentioned Idris briefly, describing him as a man of truth and a prophet, while the Quran doesn't explicitly connect Idris to the story of the watchers, but Islamic tradition often associates him with wisdom and knowledge, similar to the way that Enoch is portrayed in Jewish and Christian texts. Now you will see. Now I will explain the unique position of Enoch regarding the watchers story, and also in regards to the Nephilim as well. The Nephilim is part of the Bible in Genesis, as well as Enoch is also mentioned in Genesis, in chapters 6 and 7, if I remember correctly. So what is the storyline in the Book of Enoch? It begins with the story of the Watchers. The Watchers is a group of 200 angels sent by God to watch over humanity. These Watchers, led by Sam Yaza, descended to earth during the time of Jared. Jared is the father of Enoch. But God sent them to watch and to never interfere with human affairs. The Watchers' primary transgression was their decision to take human women as wives, driven by lust and by the beauty, but also by their diminishing fear of God. They decided to take them either by force or with their acceptance. By impregnating women with their seed and sharing with them the secret of heavens, the relations between the Watchers and human women resulted in the birth of the Nephilim. The Nephilim are these giants described as extremely violent and destructive. Additionally, the Watchers taught humans forbidden knowledge and skills. For example, Azazel, one of the high-ranking Watcher, taught humanity different things, different skills and knowledge alongside other Watchers. But God never intended humanity to possess such knowledge. So the Azazel and some of the Watchers taught men weaponry, how to make swords, knives, and shields, how to make war, how to kill humans, the best way to kill people. Cosmetic and jewelry, that taught the use of antimony, such as eye makeup and the beautifying aspects of the eyelids. Sorcery and magic, incantation and root cuttings, astrology, the course of the moon and the stars, metalworking, how to work metals and to make bracelets, but also to make weapons. So on the other side, we can also mention the Nephilim, the offsprings of the Watchers and of the human woman. There were monsters forth of violence, described as hideous giant beings with insatiable, thirst and anger, cold to old as babies, and very quick to grow. They ate everything from harvest first, then the grass, then the trees. When the landscape was done and done for, they turned to birds, cattle, the fish, the wild beast, and finally attacking humans to devour them, and even to cannibalism. So you can naturally imagine that the fear it was generating amongst the high ranking angels like the archangels and God naturally. These actions were seen as a betrayal of the divine purpose. God viewed the descent to earth and procreation with humans as a form of rebellion, abandoning the cosmic order he had established. As a result, God condemned the watchers for the actions, leading to the eventual punishment and the destruction of the Nephilim. Found in ancient Jewish and Christian texts, indeed, Enoch is mentioned in the Bible, in Genesis, as I said, but it is also mentioned in the Jewish tradition, as it is mentioned within the Quran. So Enoch was said to be the great grandfather of Noah and a man who walked with God. The Book of Enoch, while not part of the most biblical canons on the Jewish tradition or a Christian tradition, provide nonetheless a fascinating account of pre-flood civilization. It speaks of Enoch's interactions with celestial beings, his vision of the future, and warnings of the coming deluge. Enoch's narrative suggests an advanced antediluvian world, one where humans possessed knowledge that was lost in the aftermath of the flood. He describes technologies and cosmic understanding that seem out of place for what we typically consider ancient times. But Enoch's story isn't unique. Similar flood myths appear in cultures worldwide. The Epic of Gilgamesh from ancient Mesopotamia, the Hindu tradition of Manu and the Great Flood, the Greek myth of Deucalion and Pyrrha, the Maya story of the Great Flood. These different accounts share striking similarities. There's a divine warning, there's a chosen survivor, a world-altering flood. Could these stories be more than coincidence? Could they be cultural memories of a real global catastrophe? Now, we can also mention something interesting. Enoch's advocacy role. So Enoch served as an intermediary between the Nephilim and God after the extreme transgressions, where the Nephilim are the offsprings of the watchers, the angels, the angels, but also from the human woman. So we were part of that transgression, so to speak. So the Nephilim asked Enoch to intercede on their behalf, and Enoch wrote out their petition and read it in prayer, seeking forgiveness for the Nephilim. However, God rejected their plea, condemning them condemning the Nephilim for and the watchers for their respective actions. Watchers, being tempted by human woman, and having the transgression to procreate with the human woman, and at the same time the Nephilim for their actions of destructions. Enoch plays a pivotal role in the story of the Nephilim and the watchers. As the great grandfather of Noah, Enoch serves as a mediator between the divine and human realms. In the Book of Enoch, it is portrayed as a righteous man chosen by God to receive wisdom and knowledge about the cosmos. So, this expanded narrative of Enoch's role add depth to the brief mention in Genesis, offering a more comprehensive views of the events leading up to the Great Flood and emphasizing the consequences of the intermingling between divine beings and humans. It also shows a certain transgression from human and to the need to cleanse the world out of the Nephilim and all the horrors that the world has seen. So we see a transformation of the world, so to speak. Okay. Okay, guys, let's continue on section 2. The deluge or the Great Flood is also now a phenomenon that is associated with the Great Flood that is called the Younger Dryas. Okay, the Younger Dryas basically it's a period of abrupt cooling that occurred approximately 12,900 years ago to 11,700 years ago. This event actually marked a dramatic shift in Earth climate. The temperatures in the northern hemisphere dropped rapidly, with Greenland experiencing a decrease of up to 10 degrees Celsius in just a few decades. The cooling was particularly swift in Greenland, taking place over just 3 years or less. The event ended as suddenly as it began, with dramatic warming over roughly 50 years. The Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis suggests that this cooling was triggered by a cosmic event uh, due to an impact of a meteorite. This approach of the impact hypothesis is controversial and supported by researchers such as Graham Hancock, that you can find on Netflix, and someone that I'm following quite regularly, as well Randall Carson, that was pushing this view of the flood being triggered by this cosmic event, but also supported by a number of scientists, however, rejected by plenty of others, especially mainstream scientists. Basically, for the impact hypothesis, it is suggested that either one big meteorite could have hit the northern atmosphere, the northern pole or northern atmosphere, followed by a shower of meteorite that hit Earth on several occasions over several months or years. It's still unclear. Either way, the idea is that it resulted in approximately of tumultuous 300,000 cubic water, mud, and massive rocks, which ravaged the entire planet. So you can see the image on the screen that it was some kind of a tremendous event that was creating chaos everywhere, destructing everything on its path. You can easily imagine the level of devastation that such a cataclysmic event could cause on elevated civilization such as Atlantis. Described as Plato as very advanced, located in the Atlantic Ocean, supposedly existed around 10,000 BC, destroyed in a single day and a night by earthquakes and floods, as described by Plato. Mesopotamian civilizations, such as the Sumerian temple civilization, that I'll describe in more detail in part number 3. The Sumerian temple civilization was located in the Tigris-Euphrates valley as identified in the Bible. It is also known as the location of the Eden Garden. Archaeological evidence suggested multiple serious floods around 10,000 BC. Pre-dynastic Egyptian societies, signs of erosion and marine fossils, sea urchin found at Giza necropolis, suggest that the site was once submerged by waters. Such an approach suggests that both the Pyramid of Giza and the Sphinx would be much, much older than previously thought and might predate the flood. This civilization was supposedly a black melanated race which created the pyramids. The land of Mu, or Lemuria, the sacred book of Kish from the ancient Maya civilization, claimed that a very old and ancient civilization flourished between 50,000 and 12,000 years ago and dominated by a black advanced race. Mesoamerican and pre-classical civilization or an ancient Chinese cultures could have been impacted by this impact hypothesis. As I said, it's controversial and widely rejected by experts in favor of other explanations, such as changes in ocean circulation patterns that could have caused the flood as we know it. Guys, let's continue now on the section 3. Okay, this section 3, it's about the ancient structures predating the Great Flood, or the Younger Dryas phenomenon, and the Great Pyramid theory. The Younger Dryas event, occurring around 12,900 years ago, may have been a pivotal moment in human history, no doubt, potentially explaining the technological divide between ancient and modern civilizations. This abrupt climate change event, characterized by rapid warming followed by a sudden return to near glacial conditions, could have had profound impacts on human societies and their destructions. Some researchers propose that advanced civilization may have existed before this event, possessing knowledge and capabilities that were largely lost in its aftermath. The Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis suggests that a cosmic impact triggered these dramatic climate changes, as I said in section 2, potentially causing widespread destruction and population decline all over the place, the entire planet. This scenario might explain why the ancient Egyptians or of the dynastic period couldn't account for the clear origins and explanation of the construction methods and methodology of the Great Pyramid. First of all, we can explain this in different points. First of all, knowledge loss. The catastrophic events of the Younger Dryas may have resulted in a significant loss of technological and cultural knowledge. Population displacement. Rapid climate change and flooding could have forced surviving populations to migrate, disrupting the continuity of local knowledge, and also to advance the knowledge that they had already. Technological regression. The harsh conditions following the event may have forced survivors to focus on immediate survival and to put themselves in survival mode for hundreds or thousands of years after the flood, leading to a temporary or to a permanent loss of advanced building techniques and know-how. It is important to note that the current Egyptian population, primarily of Arab descent, arrived in the region long after these hypothetical events. The Arab conquest of Egypt occurred in 7th century after Christ, thousands of years after the proposed pre-flood civilizations and the constructions of the pyramids. This narrative suggests that the impressive monuments of ancient Egypt, like the Great Pyramids, might be remnants of a more technologically advanced pre-flood or pre-Younger Dryas civilization. However, it is crucial to emphasize that while intriguing, this theory remains speculative and it's not accepted by mainstream archaeology, but supported by many, such as Graham Hancock, Robert Schoch, who propose an older date for the Sphinx. John Anthony West, an independent Egyptologist, Randall Carlson, that I mentioned in multiple occasions about the Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis, Christopher Dunn, that I mentioned in part number 1, Robert Bovell, it's really interesting. He's suggesting that there's an Orion correlation theory between the 3 pyramids, the way they are positioned in the Nile Valley, and that the position of the Great Pyramids resembles the formation of the Orion constellation. And others as well, like Andrew Collins and Klaus Schmidt, are also supporting that view of a pre-flood civilization. So what is my hypothesis about this? And that is only mine. Okay. My hypothesis will suggest and turn to a pre-flood, a black melanated civilization, not the Kemet, as it is an after the flood civilization, which is estimated to be present between 5000 BCE to 300 BCE. But several accounts point to a black melanated or pre-flood civilization. First of all, a pre-flood black melanated civilization. Why there isn't mainstream archaeological evidence for a pre-flood black civilization, advanced civilization? Some alternative theories do propose this idea. These theories often suggest that advanced civilization existed before known historical records and were probably wiped out by a catastrophic flood event. So you can also push that view supported by multiple elements. Black trade in Egyptians' monuments. Some Egyptian monuments and artifacts depict individuals with features associated with black, with African or black, traits. This has led to debates about the racial and ethnic makeup of ancient Egyptian society before the flood. Okay. Lemuria or Mu connection. While these are considered mythical lost continent by mainstream science, some alternative historians do propose connections between these hypothetical civilization and ancient Egypt that connect actually Lemuria or Mu as a black melanated civilization, extremely advanced, as advanced actually as Atlantis. Limitation of current evidence. Well, it is important to acknowledge that our understanding of ancient history before the flood is limited, close to non-existent, to be honest, by available evidence and prevailing interpretation. New discoveries can and do change our understanding of the past, and certainly, different elements such as the trace of sea urchin and fossils, around the Sphinx and the pyramid suggest that it was flooded. So suggesting that the pyramids and the Sphinx were pre-flood built, and therefore needed to have been built by very, very advanced civilizations. While these ideas of a pre-flood black melanated civilization, really advanced, aren't supported by mainstream archaeology, they are part of an ongoing discussion about ancient history and human origins. To finalize this theory of the Egyptian known civilization not being the one which has built the three pyramids of Giza, as exceptional elements are making this monument truly astonishing. So let me remind to you the true crazy elements making the Great Pyramid as a truly an architectural marvel with many incredible aspects. Okay, size and weight. Originally 481 feet, 147 meters tall. Now 449 feet, 137 meters due to erosion. The base measures 756 feet, 230 meters on each side. Precise. Total weight of approximately 5.7 million tons, composed of an estimated 2.3 million limestone blocks. Massive, massive. And you can't build that with ramps or wood logs. They would be destroyed by just the weight of some of the blocks that were served to build the pyramid. Notably, the blocks that were used for the queen's and king's chamber. I will come to that in a second. Construction built over approximately 20 years, according to the Egyptian from antiquity. This would require to move one stone block into place every 5 minutes, day and night. Some stones were transported over 500 miles. With what? With donkeys to pull them? This is ridiculous. Materials. Primarily local limestone from the Giza Plateau were used, white limestone from Tura from the outer Kazan. The granite blocks from Aswan for the Queen's Chamber weighing up to 80 tons each. And they were lifted 50 meters above the ground. And there are three like this. So, yes. Precision. Sides are aligned with the four cardinal points of the compass with remarkable accuracy. Base is level within just 2.1 centimeter. So interior chambers, the king chamber built with huge block of granite demonstrated exceptional engineering skills. And as I said, each blocks were weighing 80 tons each and making three of them to be lifted above 50 meters of the ground. Okay. Longevity. Over 4,500 years old, it is the only surviving wonder of the ancient world. All the rest of the wonders, they all disappeared. Remain the tallest man-made structure for thousands of years. These features showcase the incredible engineering, planning, and execution skills of the ancient Egyptians, making the Great Pyramid a testament to human ingenuity and determination. Nonetheless, according to the accounts of ancient Egyptians from antiquity, it is not possible to correlate this level of engineering with the capabilities that they had in antiquity. Doesn't make any sense. On the other side, as I said, the ancient Egyptians said they were using several tools to build the pyramid. Copper chisel, used for carving stones and adding inscriptions. Wooden mallets, used to strike the chisels. Plumb, bob, and set square, made of wood, used for creating accurate right angles and monitoring horizontal lines. Baskets, used for carrying materials and debris. Bow drill, made of copper, wood, and string, used for creating holes in wood and stone. Copper saw, used for cutting stone and wood. To cut stone like granite. Copper saw. Try. Show me how you can do that. 2.3 million stone blocks. It doesn't make any sense. Wooden wedges, likely used for splitting stones. Okay. Boning rods, rulers, and hauls, used for measurement and marking. Levers, used for moving and lifting stone blocks. 80 tons. 100 tons or 200 tons in the temples. And the sleds were used for transporting stone blocks, especially when combined with wet sand or oil to reduce friction. Over 500 miles with sleds. Okay. To me, such disparities between the technologies and tools supposedly used and the defined results strongly suggest that Egyptians from antiquity were trying to claim these for themselves and were trying to match their respective capabilities with results that far surpass what they could do. 2.3 million blocks of median weight of 2 or 3 tons and granite blocks of 70 to 80 tons were used and about 50 meters elevated above the ground. The height of the pyramid was 447 meters. How can you elevate these blocks to the top with levers and move the stones with wooden sleds? It's ridiculous. To sum up on this part, I could say that on this section specifically, most recent studies and analyses suggest a much different use was made of the pyramid. While ancient Egyptians traditionally described the pyramids as tombs and sarcophagi for pharaohs, Some alternative theories suggest that may have had other purposes. However, it is important to note that these theories are not accepted by mainstream archaeology. Christopher Dunn, in his book, The Giza Power Plant, proposed that the Great Pyramid might have been a sophisticated machine for generating power. According to this theory, the pyramid's internal chambers and passages were designed to produce a chemical reaction generating hydrogen gas. This hydrogen gas was then used to power an electrical generator. The pyramid structure, including its shafts and chambers, might have been part of a system to collect and store energy. Some researchers argue that one, ancient Egyptian artisans could create hydrogen gas using a simple chemical reaction involving iron and vinegar. This is what you find also in certain lamps that were able to generate, electricity by using vinegar and, for example, orange juice, or vinegar and iron. The king's chamber might have been used to collect energy and direct it through the thousand shaft. The pyramid could have been acted as a power generator, broadcasting energy that was picked up by obelisks placed at key sites. But I love controversial theories, and here are a couple of them. Okay, this is additional controversial theories. The Orion correlation and theory that I was mentioning about one of the researcher that was claiming that the three main Giza pyramids align with Orion's belt stars, Al-Nitak, Al-Nilam, and Mintaka, suggest the pyramid complex was designed to match Orion's belt shape. The Orion correlation theories proposes that the south shaft of the Great Pyramids point to Orion's belt culmination point, so 44 degrees when it was built. So this is highly, controversial, but I just wanted to highlight this. And you can find, if you want to find additional information about this, if you type on Google, I'm sure you will find plenty of content about this, Orion correlation theory. Now, the speed of light connection. Some claim that the pyramid location correspond to the speed of light. So 29.979 degrees north correspond to the speed of light, roughly 300 meters per second. A study suggests that the pyramid passage measurement yield numbers matching the speed of light. 29, 97, 92, 45, 8 meters. The pyramid location theories. The Great Pyramid is often said to be at the center of the Earth land masses. Some believe it is even positioned at the intersection of significant ley lines. The ley lines are the energy lines that are, propagated by the electromagnetic field of the planet. However, it is crucial to emphasize that these ideas remain highly speculative and are not supported by mainstream archaeological evidence. The majority of Egyptologists and archaeologists maintain that the pyramids were indeed built as royal tombs based on extensive archaeological and historical evidence. I don't believe that for a second, but I had to say this because I want to highlight different kind of views for the pyramids. On the part 2 conclusion, what can I say? Okay, so the Great Flood, whether interpreted as a literal global event or a series of catastrophic climate changes, serves as a pivotal moment in human history and mythology. This narrative framework offers a compelling explanation for several enigmatic aspects of our past. First of all, the flood as a spiritual cleansing event, eliminating mythical creatures and resetting humanity's spiritual journey. That would be one approach. A second approach is the abrupt end of potential advanced pre-flood civilizations, supported by the Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis. This theory suggests a cosmic impact around 12,900 years ago triggered rapid climate change, potentially wiping out advanced societies and causing widespread memory loss. Third, the technological divide exemplified by the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its precision engineering and massive scales contrast sharply with later Egyptian capabilities from antiquity, suggesting a possible inheritance from a more advanced predecessor civilization. This framework actually attempts to reconcile ancient myths, geological evidence, and unexplained technological achievements. However, it is crucial to note that while intriguing, many aspects of this narrative remain speculative and are not accepted by mainstream science. The Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis, for example, is still debated amongst researchers and scientists. Ultimately, this perspective challenges us to reconsider our understanding of human origins, history, and technological development, encouraging further research into our ancient past. So this is the end of the part number 2. I'll see you in part number 3. Thanks very much for your time, and I appreciate you.